of all, before we get started with the actual meeting, I did want to make reference to an event that we have coming up on February the 24th. Our Ottawa County State Legislative Delegation will be having a legislative preview breakfast. It's going to be in the Marriott at 7:30, and you can go to our website. Tickets are $10, so we're excited to have all four of our delegation there, and we're excited to be able to do this. Our Governmental Affairs Committee has started back this year, and that's one of our first events that we'll be putting on. So I just want to make mention of that. And that kind of segues into our delegation from the state legislature kind of taking the lead at the meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Senator Clyde Chambliss.
Thank you, Patty, and thank everybody for being here tonight. As I was driving in from the far north eastern portion of my district and back down to the southwestern portion, I was trying to think about just our community and other communities that I represent, and just how blessed we are as a community to live in the area that we do, in the state that we do. And we're blessed with resources, natural resources, human resources, and it's just it's gratifying to sit here in a room like this with leaders from throughout our community that all have a future in mind for our community that's good, that's better than what we have right now. And it's gratifying for you all to be here. You know, we started these tri-government meetings a long time ago. I don't remember exactly when, but a long, long time ago. And there were, you know, a couple of purposes. One is that as people change over time, we need to get to know each other, because we are part of the governing bodies of our community. And obviously we have new faces here tonight. And I want to go around the room in just a minute and everybody just introduce yourself, just a little bit about who you are and who you represent, what board you're on, that kind of thing. I think most of us know that, but I think it's wrong to assume that everybody knows everybody well, and it would be good to let us all be on the same page there. The second thing that we wanted to do is to just give general updates about what's going on in our world, because especially with the city, the county, and the Board of Education, there are times that you all may be working on similar issues and may not know that. And if we can have those discussions in general here, and then more specifically elsewhere when needed, it can be a help. And when we have the relationships to have those discussions, our community is who benefits from that. So those were the kind of purposes of why we started the Tri-Government Meeting years ago. And Matt Gibson and Wendell Mitchell, I think, were the first two hosts of those back then. So I'm honored tonight to be with my colleagues, Van Smith, Jerry Starnes, and Kelvin Lawrence, and just to represent this area together. And I'm looking forward to this session. It's going to be an interesting session. We've got the final round of COVID funds to appropriate, and that's always interesting when you have money there. We do have a pretty good position fiscally. We have worked hard, and very hard, over the last decade, especially 12 years. And before the federal stimulus came out, we were actually in the best shape that we had been, really, in my opinion, in my lifetime in state government. And it's really not complicated. You're conservative on your projections of revenue. You budget less than that, you have a margin. You spend less than you make. And things seem to go better when you do it that way. And I know you all try to do that as well, and are doing that as well. So we're in good shape. And then we had the federal stimulus that came along, and obviously that's created some revenue, but it's also created expenditures with inflation. And you know, we'll see what happens with that, what we do, and how we have to cover those costs. So, with that, what I'd like to do is just everybody to go around and just say a few words about who you are and that sort of thing. And then Jerry and Kelvin and Van can jump in and go from there. So I'll start out. I'm Clyde, represent all or parts of Watauga, Elmore, Chilton, Coosa, and Tallapoosa counties in the Alabama Senate. I'm fortunate to be beginning my third term, which is really kind of hard to imagine. It's flown by so quickly, but I do enjoy it. And some folks look at me crazy when I say that. It is gratifying at times, and it's challenging at times. And anything worth doing is hard at times. So I enjoy it, and I appreciate you letting me serve you in the Senate.
Hey, I'm Billy Holland, Board of Education, District 4. Been on the board now for about 2 months, and it's just been a smooth 2 months. Lifelong resident of Watauga County, graduated from Marbury High School and been a principal at Marbury High, Crawford Primary. I work for the State Department of Ed now. Appreciate it.
Tim Tidmore, I'm Superintendent of Watauga County Schools. It's my third year, and it has seemed like it's been today. It's been a real interesting time. We've got a new board, new ideas, and invigorating things going on. We've got a lot going on. So, glad to be here.
Hey, I'm Kim Crockett, District Board of Education. I serve as chairman, and I am not a lifelong Prattville resident. We are transplants. My husband owns an optometry practice here, and we have 3 kids that are in Prattville schools. So I'm very excited in my new role, and it's been a roller coaster so far. So we're hoping we're going to get on a steady, and everything's going to calm down. So.
Hey, I'm Lisa Burke of the City of Prattville. I'm in my 7th year at City of Prattville.
I'm Daniel Oakley. I'm the City of Prattville's Finance Director. Been with the city for a little over 6 years, and I am not an elected official. No offense to those who are.
I'm Scott Kramer. I'm the County Administrator for Watauga County. I also serve as the Treasurer. I've been in my 5th year now.
I'm Van Smith. I'm a native of Watauga County. Lived here all my life with the exception of a few years in the military and a few years at Auburn. And had the opportunity to graduate in Billingsley School. They finally forgave me. I came back and I was principal at Billingsley for a long time after that. And retired, served on the county commission for a short period of time. And I'm in the House of Representatives serving the north part of Watauga County from Pine Level, Marbury, over through Posey's Crossroads, Billingsley, and then the remainder of mine is in Chilton County, and I serve about 90% of Chilton County.
I'm Jay Thompson, District 4 Commissioner of Watauga County, Chairman of Watauga County Commission, lifelong resident of Watauga County. My family's been in Watauga County since the 1850s, so we've been here for just a little while. I think my original family members came here because there was actually a place to come to work to, which was the gin shop. So I think there were sharecroppers before that, so there wasn't a whole lot of places to work. So this is one of the few places in the state that could come to work. So I'm glad it did. Lived here my whole life. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. Been on the commission for about 10 years.
I'm not going to stand up. My name is Bill Tatum. I'm the Commissioner of District 3 here in Watauga County. This is my first term, ending toward my first term. Graduated of Marbury High School, 3rd generation graduate of Marbury High School. Lifelong residents, Married, 3 boys. They're all grown with 7 grandbabies.
Hey, I'm John Trailkill. I've served District 2, which starts at the tree farm on Highway 14. It rolls all the way back behind Cracker Barrel. So anybody that's got a problem in that area, please call. But I will have to say the commission as a whole, we take calls from every district there is. But I've been on the commission now for about 8 years, and this will be my second full term. I came in midterm. So I'm good to see everybody. Thank you.
I'm Larry Stoudemire, the County Commissioner of District 5. I've been on it for 7 years now. Getting ready to start my 8th year. Been in prep all my life. I won't name everything I do because I have like 5 or 6 different jobs. I've been around a long time. I retired from Bruno, retired from Office Depot, and now I'm at Prep Junior High School. I have a wife and 2 kids and 3 grandkids. Thank you.
I'm Rusty Jackson. I represent District 1 for the Ottawa County Commission. I'm also a 22-year veteran of the Prattville Police Department. So you only got about 3 years left of me. I'm married. My wife Kim, it's her birthday today, so I'd appreciate it if nobody told her we had Chris's barbecue tonight. she's having leftover spaghetti.
Hope you have a home to go to.
I'm Josh Pendergrass. I'm a lawyer here in town, a new partner in McDowell, Falk, and Shirley. I'm helping represent the county commission on their issues. I did not grow up in Prattville, and I didn't even know Prattville existed until I did, and then once I did, I moved here. So that might be just as good as growing up here. I don't know.
Bill Gillespie, City of Prattville, lifetime resident here, and very blessed to my family's still here. And yesterday was my twins' 4-year-old birthday party, and we had a great time there. But I have 3 grandkids, and like you, Senator, I really do enjoy this role. I think it's been very productive. It is not an easy role, but we have a lot of great people with the community, in the counties, and business owners and everything else that actually like to work together, and I think we've gotten a lot done, and looking forward to the future and how much more we can do. Thanks.
I'm Sheriff Mark Harrell. I'm recently appointed after the unfortunate passing of our beloved sheriff. This is a new experience for me. I retired from the city of Prattville as a police officer. I've lived in Ottawa County more than I haven't lived in Ottawa County, and I'm very appreciative of the job that I've got. I do a good job, and any help that I can get, I would appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Captain Tom Allen, Ottawa County Sheriff's Office. I got drug along by the sheriff. This is his first meeting, mine too.
Christy Piper, Ottawa County. I serve at the pleasure of the chamber. I'm sorry, at the county commissioners. A lot of you know me from the chamber because I heard everybody say, she's with the chamber. I'm with the county. I started my 2nd year, and I'm proud to say that I work for the county. I came into Ottawa County in 1988. My first real job brought me to this area. And I love Ottawa County and Prattville so much that I selected to be here. Like so many people that experience the foundation we have, the opportunities we have, and I am a poster child for this area. So that's what I love to do, and I love to serve. And I'm just looking forward to that foundation that has been laid and continue moving Ottawa County forward.
I'm Kyle Shirley. Josh kind of said earlier, I'm partner with Falk and Shirley here in town. I represent the county commission, represent the Chamber of Commerce. If the town of Ottawa is here, I represent the town of Ottawa. So, you know, most of the government entities in the county I represent. So, Commissioner Thompson has me beat by about 30 years on the Ottawa County history. I'm only been here since the 1880s, so you beat me. But look forward to being here. Glad to be here, and you know, I think everybody in here knows me. I'm kind of my old next door neighbor from when I was a kid. So I think most of y'all know me already.
I'm the reason he's successful.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kelvin Lawrence. I serve as state representative for House District 69. And I really think it's a Senate district because I have 4 counties that I actually represent. I live in Lowndes County, represent Lowndes, Wilcox, parts of Ottawa County, and I'm also the Montgomery County Legislative Delegation Chairman. I've been in the legislature since 2014. I'm starting my 3rd term. Guess I'm doing something right. I don't know. We'll see after this next term. I'm just glad to be here. This is my first term where I actually be representing parts of the city of Prattville. I'm looking forward to get to know each and every one of you as we try to make this community a better place for everyone.
I'm Marcus Jackson. I represent District 2 on the Prattville City Council. This is starting my 6th year on the council. I also work for the Talk County Board of Education. Been here in Prattville most of my life, except for my time in Auburn, and I lived in Atlanta. I did graduate in '92 with Jay and Laura Lee. I know it's hard to believe because I look so much younger than them. We are 92 graduates. Bill left us, went to Margaret. He's a traitor, but that's okay. We still love you. But yes, I enjoy Prattville. I enjoy working with everyone here, and I just look forward to what we can do and moving this city and this county forward.
Oh, I forgot one thing. Since everybody was talking about their connection to the city of Prattville, I do have 2 adult sons that graduated from Prattville High School. One was in 2012, was on the last state championship team, and one was in 2016, was on the last run-up championship. I mean, run-up state run-up team. That's my connection.
I'm Alex Strickland, lifetime resident of Prattville, graduate of Talbot County High School, if any of you remember that school. I'm on the City Council representing District 1.
I'm Jerry Starnes. I'm State House, House District 88. I've served on the City Council for 10 years. I just retired from the state of Alabama, November the 1st, for 30 years of service. And I'm also in the Army National Guard, been serving for 28 years. And I'm just glad to be here as 3 months in.
John Chambers, District 3, City Council, going on almost 3 years now. Really enjoy it and look forward to working with everybody and making the community and the city a better place. Married, 2 children, 2 girls. They both went through the school system at Prattville. I graduated in 1989. Just wanted to give back to the community and thought this was a good way to do it.
I'm Laura Lee Boone. I'm on the Prattville City Council. I represent District 7, which is pretty much the west side of town, right up this hill up here. My home, my grandparents' home. From where I live right now, I could throw a rock into where my grandparents grew up. And so this is home to me. About 10 years on the council and really enjoy it. Look forward to meetings like tonight.
I'm Paula Barlow. I'm the city clerk with the city of Prattville. I've been with the city for about 24 years now, but only in the city clerk's office for about 1.5 years, and I serve at the pleasure of the council and the mayor.
I'm Robert Strichick, Prattville City Council, District 6. That's my main memorial going out in every direction, so I touch them all. I'm on my 2nd term. Like Laura Lee said, I have to be here working with everybody. My wife, who's newly elected to the Board of Education, Tracy, sends her regards, wanted me to say that for her. She's actually teaching future educators at Faulkner University as we speak, so she's doing one of her other jobs. So, and 3 children, 2 daughters, one's a teacher, one's a nurse, and then my last check was written this year, it was in January for my son who's a senior, about to graduate college, so all 3 are going to be gone. So, looking forward to that pay raise.
So with that, I guess, Van and then Kelvin and Jerry, since Jerry's a newbie, he goes last. And then after that, we would just go to the different entities, maybe the county, the city, and then the Board of Education. Just give a kind of an update from there. Van?
Senator, I'm gonna let my elder here, he's got more seniority to do, and I'll follow Kelvin, but go ahead, Kelvin.
I guess, since I'm in the hot seat, I think we, like Senator Chambers spoke about earlier, financially, I think the state is probably in probably the best financial shape that it's been in. I know since I've been in the legislature, and that's with a big infusion of federal dollars. And I think we've, as a whole, individually we may think differently, but I think as a whole, as a legislature, I think we've really done a great job in terms of what we spend our money on and how we spend it, in terms of making sure that we put some back for that so-called rainy day, our rainy day fund. But we do have some challenges, as everyone knows, and especially if you're in public office, you know that everything is always not peaches and cream. We do have some challenges, and I think moving into this next session, we're going to address some of those challenges, hopefully for the best. But one thing is, it's hard when you have 140 people that are trying to do the best thing for the state, but they're also trying to look out for the constituent that voted for them to come to it. So sometimes we may not always agree on how we get it done, but I think for the most part, the majority of the people there really have the best interest of the state at heart. And so I think that's just kind of my little 2 cents about how it is. We got some difficult issues that we're going to have to deal with, but that happens all the time, and we just kind of looking forward to attacking those issues. And you know, one thing I would say is, irregardless of political affiliation, Republican or Democrat, at first we're all Alabamians, and so when we're all Alabamians, we should want to make sure that all Alabamians are taken care of, irregardless of their political affiliation, whatever the case may be. And so we're looking forward to continue to tackling that challenge head on as we move into the next legislative session, and hopefully you all be a little bit proud of us than before. So.
Thank you, Kelvin. It is a pleasure to serve with Kelvin. I look forward to serving with Jerry in the House of Representatives. And I'll brag again, the people that were there before I was there, they did a great job as far as rolling reserves and having funds for times when financial situations were difficult. And Clyde was there during that, and it's really remarkable to see his fingerprints on a lot of those budgets and the way that they've been good with the money. For those of you who've been in education, I was in education 37 years, and to hear that we've not been in proration in over 10 years, that's really remarkable. But that's because they've been conservative and they've done things they need to do as far as keeping those funds on hand. Those are good things, and there's a lot of good things going on, but a lot of the things that we do have unintended consequences. For example, I supported a bill to help farmers this last year, and it was called Sweet Grown Alabama. What could be better than that, helping our farmers, especially small farmers that maybe raise strawberries or cucumbers and process them, and then there was a value added to that crop. Maybe they took the strawberries, made them into jams and jellies. Well, they were being punished by having to pay sales tax when they sold those jams and jellies or pickles that they made from cucumbers. So we got that done away with, where they wouldn't have to do that. Unintended consequences. Medical marijuana is saying they're adding a value-added process to our medicinal marijuana. So we've got some work to do there. That was not a consequence that we intended there for corporate type things. So we'll work on that. Other things that are going to come along. We talked today in chairman and vice chairman meetings. We will have a special session to deal with federal monies that Clyde's mentioned that are coming down, depending on how much the Senate leans toward having that session at the beginning or at the end or the middle. We will have a special session simply to deal with those dollars there, to get them out to the local legislative and local government so that they can be spent for the people. So that will happen, and that's another pretty good tranche of money there that can be presented to your county governments to handle. So there's many other things that are going to come up. You know, I'll tell you another situation that we were sold a really good situation. Kelvin worked with us on this, and we all worked together on this, and it was an early release program, which you've heard a lot about in the news. Now let me tell you how that was sold to us, okay? a person who has a 10-year sentence, if we let that person go to the end of his 10 years and then release him, the state has no control over what that person does. He's paid his debt to society, he can do whatever he wants to do then. The way this in theory would work is you let this person out 2 or 3 months early, then he can be monitored with an ankle monitor, he can be drug tested, he can be encouraged not to go back to the environment where you got into trouble, he can be required to get a job, he can have a parole officer. So that's not how it's worked out. So there's many that we've already had some, I think, in Autauga County who were arrested who never had an ankle monitor on. So that's got to be worked on. And whether that came from our prisons and pardons and parole or wherever, it just wasn't done the way we passed it. And so we've got to work on that some more. So many issues that you tackle that seem really simple on the uptake, but they're really difficult when they don't work out exactly like you want them to. It's a pleasure to serve y'all, and I enjoy it. There's difficult times, but I can tell you that Republican, Democrat, Kelvin, and the group works together, and we don't see districts, we see the people that we serve.
I represent House District 88, and I've grabbed hold of Kelvin's and Van's coattails and hanging on tight, and I'm also on Clyde's. I just want to report, I don't have much to report. I've only been in office 3 months, but I did get on Judiciary Committee, Public Safety and Homeland Security, and also Veteran Affairs and Military. So I'm glad that's in my expertise, my wheelhouse, so I'm excited about that. And those are one of the issues that Van brought up. I'm hoping to work on that and bring in some expertise how pardons and parole really works and tackle that issue. Another thing is the good time. I know that's came up, and I'm hoping we'll be able to resolve that issue. I do want to say, I want to give accolades to the Board of Education. I know we've got a new board, and the Autauga County Commission for bringing up the school tax. I hope that does not die. We need to do something, because I've preached this for probably 8 to 10 years. If we don't do something here, we're going to lose Maxwell. It's a foundation, and we cannot lose that base. If we don't do something as a body, all three of us, city, county, and board, we're going to, at the end, lose. So I'm hoping we'll all be able to address that issue and everything. So that's all I can say. And also, Clyde, thanks for what you did on the field.
Well, I brought homework for everyone. I only have 2 hours to get through all this. I'm going to try to get through it as quick as possible. Yeah, I'm going to spread out like this. Handed these out earlier.
Next time you got to put them on the beach.
We're going to kind of focus on the right side of the folder. And, first of all, I want to start off thanking everyone. I know everybody here knows we had a tornado on the 12th, and I think everybody in this room had a part in helping the county do that. The city of Prattville was there with the police department, fire department, did an outstanding job. I don't think we could have done it without them, but they did an outstanding job. Our sheriff's department, we had a lot of different sheriff's departments from around the state help us. Every district y'all represent have people here helping us, and we appreciate that. I know those first couple of days were extremely tough, and there's no way we could have done it on our own. And I think it shows good on Autauga County that we did have so much help, because that's not always the case everywhere. I think I've said this before, but one Saturday we had 30 folks here from Jefferson County working in Autauga County, and we had an individual, Preacher Pecan, from Lowndes County, feed them lunch. So you take two counties, came to our county, we're good, and that's great. I think that bodes well for our county. I think that's bodes well for how counties around us see us and how they appreciate us. I know we're always willing to help out other counties that are in need, and they definitely came to our needs. So I want to get that out first. Thank everybody. Not one, can't remember what morning it was, but I think there's almost a dozen House Representative members there, legislators from Montgomery came to Talbot County when the hearings was going on. And I don't ever remember having that many legislators in Talbot County looking at anything. So that was pretty amazing. I appreciate y'all's leadership in that, getting everybody here to see that, because that made a big difference in FEMA and how they responded to our area. So I appreciate that. All right. So I got a few things here. Fans getting ahead of me, so I'm gonna get started. But I tried to pick out some legislation we're gonna try to tackle this year that affects everybody in this room. I don't want to just stick with county, but I want to stick with stuff that affects everybody in this room. The first thing we'll talk about, and y'all have this in y'all's folder, so I won't read all of it, bore everybody, but the pistol permit. You know, last year there was a bill passed where it didn't require to have a pistol permit anymore. And in that bill, the state said, well, we'll take the 2022 numbers and apply that to the sheriff's department's pistol revenue. We'll have revenue replacement. It's kind of like Dan said, unintended consequences. Well, once this bill hit the floor and everybody started talking about it, the people quit buying pistol permits. So that was last year. So a lot of people did not buy a pistol permit last year. And so that's going to leave a hole in every county in the state if the state goes off of the 22 numbers. I think we need to go off the 21 numbers, or I think that'd be a more better baseline for every county in the state, not just us. And I know our sheriff's departments all over the state, they rely on that. That's not their only means of funding, but when you cut funding, they have no way to replace it. So if y'all would look at that and maybe adjust that date from 22 to 21, I think would be a better representation of every county.
Have y'all started receiving any of those dollars yet?
I think they've just started allowing us to apply for it.
We just put in our first quarter, so this quarter when the check comes in, so we're expecting that any time now.
The other thing, say the quarter, I know most counties have very small staffs, so if it could be a yearly allocation instead of quarterly, I think that would be easier on all the counties too. At the end of the year, submit our paperwork to the state, and that way it's not bogging our sheriff's departments down all year long trying to figure out what that number is. So I think that would help them out too. There's going to be a piece of legislation come through on the logging industry is pushing it, trucking industry, and they want to raise the weight limit on logging trucks. Right now the weight limit on the road is 80,000 pounds. The logging industry gets 10%, so they get 88,000 pounds. And so I've always thought it was odd, there's a law, but we get somebody 10% above the law to break for free. They don't give you 10 miles an hour over speed limit. Speed limit's speed limit. But the weight limit is 80,000 pounds. They get 88,000 pounds. And one reason they do get 88,000 pounds is because they are loading in the woods, and they don't have scales in the woods, so it's hard to load a log truck to 80,000 pounds. And so one thing the logging industry is saying is, hey, we are in the woods, we are loading. It's hard to load at that weight. So what we did, the association, we pulled all the weight tickets for the last couple of years, because you can pull tickets from state troopers by, they tell you exactly what it was, a log truck, a sand truck, a gravel truck, a cement truck, and only 10% of the trucks that were pulled over were actually at 80,000 pounds. And only 21% of the trucks that were ticketed was over 88,000 pounds. So they can load between 80 and 88, because only 10% are loaded at 80. The rest of them are loaded above 80. But only 21% are loaded above 88. So, to me that fly as an excuse to raise the limit, to give them a little extra cushion. I think if this does hit the floor, we're just talking about logging trucks, but if you look around our county, we have a lot of gravel trucks, all types of semi-tractor trailers that run through our towns and county roads. So once one industry is able to bump it up if I'm there, my industry's gonna bump it up too, so it's hard to do just for one industry, so I think you'll see a flood of other industries wanting to bump that weight limit up. Our roads in the county, you know, it's very expensive to keep these roads up. Our bridges, you know, we do a very good job in Talk County with our bridges. We don't have any bridges that need to be replaced right now. We spend a lot of money to do that, and so if you start allowing these trucks out in the county, and a lot of these trucks come through the city because they're going to the paper mill, and city has spent a lot of money here recently repaving downtown, and everything looks real nice, so we really don't want heavier trucks on our roads. That could also be a safety issue. If y'all have any questions, please ask. I'm trying to get this real quick because I know y'all will be here all night. Contractor liability is another issue that's coming up. You know, counties, a lot of counties, most all counties use contractors to pave the roads, to build the roads. Back in 2012, the contractors got a bill passed where they had very limited liability, and basically saying if they saw deficiency in the plans, they could write a letter to ALDOT, and that kind of did them away of the liability. I'm kind of ad-libbing on this. So there's really not a whole lot of liability they do have now, but they want it where they have zero liability. Basically saying once the county or the city pays for that project, we take on all the liability. And I know a county like Atauga, we don't have enough workforce in our engineering department to sit out on the road all day long and inspect every little thing that's done. Another problem we face is we have to take low bidder, so we're already starting off with the lowest bidder on the project. I'm not gonna say they're gonna try to skimp, but if they can save money somewhere, they're gonna usually try to save money. They're gonna save money, so we don't think they should just be released of all their liability and all that liability to the counties and cities, whoever does that work. The public works laws. We're going to try to introduce some legislation to change some of the public works laws. Try to increase the bid threshold. Right now it's $50,000, and that's been in place for 20 years or so, a long time. 20 years ago, $50,000 on a project was a lot of money. Now it's not. We want to increase that to anything over $100,000, so it doubles that, but it kind of gets it up to, I wouldn't say it gets it up to where it needs to be, because there's very few projects now that are even $100,000 with the expense of everything. There's some other requirements we're going to change here. There's a lot of places there's not newspapers to advertise, so we'd like to be able to advertise online, at the courthouse, stuff like that, to make the advertisement a lot easier. So I'll let y'all read down that.
Can I add one thing into your
Yes,
newspaper thing? Just, I'm sure y'all are aware, the Alabama Media Group has sent out a notice that starting February the 26th, they will no longer do print advertisement or print newspapers. Everything will be online. That's the only 3 statewide newspapers that we've seen. So we have to advertise those bids in the statewide newspapers. So unless something's passed to authorize us to post these online or somewhere else, we can't even put out bids after that.
Yeah. It kind of handcuffs us.
When did you start that one?
February 26th.
Real soon. So, there's a lot more points on here too, so I'll read down those bullet points. Also, on the bid law too, the bid thresholds are at 15,000. If that could be raised up to 30, that would be great, or higher than that. That's some things in here on the bids that would help out local governments also. Kevin, I leave. Too much information? I'm good.
You got Marcus here.
I got Marcus. Got you. All right. Another big thing that always comes up every year is the SSUT funding. There's always a tax on the way that was set up. I believe this year one of the biggest attacks is coming from the Big Ten cities. If you look on the next page, it shows those cities and what they received last year through the SSUT. And what the Big Ten cities are wanting to do is take the SSUT money and and kind of factor it on the same base of sales tax. So they said, okay, well, we're at 4%, we should get our 4% cut based on how much sales tax we bring in. So you take it to Talbot County, we'd get a 0.5% sales tax. So if you did that in Talbot County, we would pretty much lose most all of our SSUT money because we get very little on the sales tax side. I'll take one, say Dothan here. The city of Dothan, last year they got $4,379,000. They're 4%. The county's on 1%. The county got 2.6. If you brought the Dothan up equal with the county, they would get about $14 million to make them whole off their sales tax. So that's just one city out of a lot of cities in the state. And you bump these 10 up, it's got to come from somewhere. And I know every person in here represents a lot of small towns in their districts. It would do away with a pot of money they've had almost completely in a lot of the smaller towns. And a lot of y'all do represent some small towns that rely on this funding. You know, take the commission, about 50% of our budget goes to the sheriff's department. If you cut out our SSUT, who's the first person that's going to get cut uses the highest person in the budget. I don't think anybody in this county wants to do that. The new sheriff, I'm sure, doesn't want to do it. So I'd really like to keep an eye on that. Steve Wyndham is their lobbyist. That's looking at this. So it's a real threat. Please keep an eye on that. And on the back, I did do a thing with SSUT. A lot of counties are using that money also in cities to help their local education folks. So that would cut that out too.
Excuse me, Jeff. Are y'all using it for education?
We give 25% of ours to education. That goes to the Board of Education and CAC. CAC gets a small cut off.
Okay. This year we used it to supplement all of the teaching grants from the foundation, Education Foundation, retired teachers, and one other. Character Coalition, thank you. That the grants that they received, we were able to double those. So that we put it directly back into the platform.
Daniel, is this something that we've done?
The first year, when the simplified sales use tax came about, we put it aside. I can't even remember for what purpose now. But since that first year, it just goes into the general fund. So we don't have any real restrictions on it internally at this time.
I think first year was for asphalt, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
The last thing I'll bring up, there's a couple other things in the back which I can read on your leisure. But a couple years ago, when the rescue plan money came to the counties, it came through the state. Each county was doled out a portion of monies, and it depended on your population and how much money that you received from the state. The counties were kind of given a date. Okay, this is going to be the drop dead date to spend that money or have it allocated. The process to spend it was you had to verify what you're going to spend it on, send that to the state. State auditor said, yes, that is a allowable expense. You can buy it. So it was kind of a lengthy process to buy things to the state. And then kind of very quickly, the road was pulled out from under us and said, okay, by end of December, we're taking the money back if you haven't spent it. We thought every county thought they had a few more months to spend this money, and especially the counties that were trying to do everything right, to make sure everything that they spent the money on was allowable. Those were the counties that were affected the most by monies that wasn't spent. The governor has said, please quit saying, I took your ARPA money, CARES Act money, and so she has asked us to put together something that will help all counties, issues that every county has, and one of those issues is stormwater, and so we're asking the state to set aside some funds for stormwater projects that could be given out like a grant type program. I put that information in your packet also. Also put the letter that we sent to the governor on that. And I know that's going to be coming up this week for y'all to look at. And so please, I strongly ask y'all to be in favor of that, for the counties. I know every county has stormwater issues out in the county, or things that could be improved on. And I think it would be a very nice gesture from the state to get some of that money back. Of course, everybody wants more money. I'm not going to be the only people want some, but I think that is an issue. Asked our engineer, real quick, how many stormwater projects in Natal County could you come up with today? And he said, I can give you half a dozen shovel-ready right now. So I asked him why are we tackling them? And he said the funding's just not there. There's not a grant line to receive these funds for that. So this would be a way for the state to help out all the counties and kind of get some money back to the counties that was pulled out from others. And I'm going to leave it at that. We do have a piece of local legislation up front, but I'm not all y'all aware of it. Any questions?
Jay, I'd like to say thank you for your leadership through all the tornadoes and all the aftermath. Having served in your position before, I didn't have to go through anything quite like that, but it was apparent that you and the county, the administrator, EMA, sheriff, everyone was prepared. Y'all knew what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and it was really impressive. So I appreciate that.
Let me make one point. I'm trying to make it keep there was a lot of decisions made. Of course, the tornado hit a little after 12:30, so most of our residents were at work or at school. If this tornado would have hit at 5:30, 6 o'clock, or if it hit in the middle of the night, I think our death total would be, I don't know what it would be, but it would be tremendous. It was about a 30-mile track through Natal County, starting pretty much at Joffrey, going all the way across to Elmore County. It was about a half-mile wide at its narrowest and about a mile at its widest. I know the school made a decision to keep kids in school, and I know they got pounded on it on social media. And the structures that I saw that were devastated, a lot of them would have children in them. Yeah. And I think the death toll of innocent kids would have been tremendous. And so that was, I know it wasn't an easy decision for them to make. And I know they took a pounding for it on social media, but I was on the ground pretty quick, and I was so thankful that my kids were in school, and not on the bus and that.
Me too.
So I think that was a critical decision that was made in our county that really changed things.
Well, and I appreciate you saying that, because I have had the very same sentiment. I haven't been involved in it like you have, but I have been there. And when you see these homes wrapped around trees that kids would have been in, there is no way they would have survived it. So thank y'all for a good decision. Every decision has pluses and minuses, but in hindsight, that one was the right decision. So thank you.
And just to kind of go off on that, the entire board was at our shelter. I think we had 30 to 50 kids that were brought back. And when kids were brought back because their houses weren't there and they didn't know, we were there. And I thank the board. We fed them, sang with them, played with, and the whole community came out. Their house wasn't there, or they couldn't get there, or they couldn't, it was, they just weren't there. But when they said our house is gone, and then the family of 10 people who lost everything, you know, you don't really care about all the negative social media or whatever. But the community came out.
Thank you.
Well, Senator and Representatives, thank y'all for arranging this. Thank you, Patty Van Wall, for hosting everything. The meal was good, so tell Kristen Barnaby thank you as well. Commissioner, thank you. I'll pass along your comments, which I think our police and fire chief have already heard from most of the board, the whole county commission and everything. And thank goodness their professionalism kicked in, and I think that was very positive for us all. But, you know, we did have, as you mentioned earlier, there's other counties that came in. I saw City of Montgomery mentioned some folks over. So I think that, and I don't know if it's a Central Alabama thing or an Alabama thing or just a Southern thing, but I think when we see our sister cities and counties in need, I think we all come out. And so very proud to be a part of this area. And we were very, very blessed that you know, every life lost is a terrible thing, but it could have been so much worse than that one. But again, anything else that we can do, continue to reach out to us. And glad that you brought up a couple of things I also had on my mind. We have been reading a little bit about the online sales tax that has been known. We're watching that sort of closely as well, because we have put that money to very good use as well. Barlow and I have been talking some about the bid, advertising for the bids. We do have some need of advertising in the very near future, and so something we'll be sending out an email to all of our representatives right here as well. In the near future, we'll be reaching out to everybody here at the local and the state and the federal level and seeing exactly what all we can do to get one of our main projects going is Queen Smith Road widening. And Senator Turner, say thank you, because I know you put in a lot of hours to get our Highway 82 being paved. And sometimes when I go before council, I say, I got some good news, I got some bad news. Good news is we got paving coming. Bad news is we got paving coming, and we're sure we're glad when Highway 82 is finished on that one. We also are looking at Fairview Avenue, hopefully in the next several months. District 6, I know is very much waiting to see how all that outcomes, but we're trying to get that moved a little bit closer. But any kind of state funds, A-TRIP monies that are out there for any of our projects out there, we'll be reaching out, and hopefully our representatives here can help push that all through. But Commissioner, you're all right. We have put in a lot of money in paving our streets, and I now know why. I got reminded why I keep saying that we got good news and bad news. We got paving coming, and that answers both of them, because we did hear from quite a few that, well, why is it taking so long? Why is it not this street and all that other? But all in all, I think the citizens of Prattville appreciate the time and effort that on those projects. You know, the financial side of Prattville right now is very well. We still have quite a few challenges, like so many other folks, but I think all of our successes I owe to so many folks here in this room, our city council, economic development team, the finance director over there, representatives here, our county friends as well. But we recently, quality of life is so important to some, and a child's place. There's some that embrace change, and there's some that don't embrace change. But we've had a lot of folks who embrace the change at a child's place, and that was one of our recent projects that amazes me as I go by every day. And if I see usually less than 50 folks there, I'm wondering, it must be a bad weather day or something along that line, but it's always crowded. The exercise, fitness court, thank you. Our fitness court, I see folks there at all times and everything, but those are just some of the grants and expenditures that the city's been able to approve. But hopefully, one reason why I'm so interested in the advertising of these bids is because of Stanley J. and the Fairview Avenue project, and just to name some of the big ones coming. So anything that y'all can do, researching that, see what options that we might have. Those are going to be very important to get those projects moving forward. But again, I feel like all of our departments are very much working together. Our public safety team, as I've gone through various events around the state, EDAA or some other events, talked to various mayors around, Prattville is very blessed that our police and fire department are working so close together. It's, and when I talked to a lot of others from other communities, when I felt that their admin are actually housed in one building, they're just bewildered on how in the world did that happen. But that was because of a partnership with so many people here. But we are blessed, look forward to the future, and a lot of it is because everybody here in the room. Thank you.
I've got some stuff for a few of you. Let's pass these down, right. This is on our website, but this is for our delegation to look at. This is our most current financial picture. Okay. It's published yearly by law. It's always a year in arrears. The Alabama Association of School Boards. It does show where we rank system-wide, statewide. School board actually got it a couple of weeks ago. School board has it been on our website. You can look through that. I won't go through that line by line, but no one would be surprised as far as per pupil revenues. We are ranked 133 out of 138. That does include a couple of charter schools. So, that's where we are. But you can also see we do very well with what we have. And I keep telling people, and I've said that, throughout this tax referendum. And again, thank the senator and the legislative delegation for their hard work on that. What we're doing now, just think of what we could do if we had proper funding. Okay? Just kind of go through a few things. It's coming up, of course, the tax referendum will be something that we've already started talking about. Some different plans that we need to work on, and those discussions are ongoing. So that will be coming up. Then we also, obviously, the elephant in the room is security concerns. We have had, you can look on Prattville Uncut, anywhere else. We did have 2 weapons, one at Prattville Junior High School and Prattville High School. Both of those cases, kids did what they were told to do, and they saw something and said something. But now, what we find is because of just various things, we're constantly reevaluating our safety protocols. Right now, I think it's safe to say anything's on the table. Again, that takes money. You look at, and I'm not just quoting a couple of AL.com stories or articles, Huntsville High School or Huntsville City Schools just paid $2.9 million for their security upgrades, not in every school, and those go from building to building. So that's a rotating thing. Huntsville High, of course, Huntsville City Schools, it's a lot larger than our system, but and they're a city system, so they've got a lot more per pupil expenditure, per pupil money. But if it's that much there, and they can't even cover, their buildings, that they have to rotate them around. Again, some of the things we tried to talk about during the tax referendum season, we do have our buildings. It's hard to secure a building that's 100 years up. I think we are currently looking at some fencing options, attractive fencing options around some of the buildings. But like we said, the board, we've got a committee that will be formed to revise some of our student discipline, our safety protocols. We do have, and it seems like it comes in cycles. And I'm not going to say, well, it's everywhere, but because the most important thing is that it's here. But we do have drugs. We do have gangs. It's almost like it's compared to the boy at the dike. You put a finger in one, and then another one pops up. With the sheriff's department and the police department, we're working on that. You know, people aren't moving here because they can get drugs into the schools. They're here and they're bringing drugs into the schools. So it takes a society to work together. We've got gangs. You know, we could put our heads in the sand, but we have a gang issue, we have a gang problem, major gang problem, and it's coming from a couple of different directions. Like Representative Storm said, I think a lot of this stems from, we would be a lot worse off if we didn't have Maxwell and the benefits that they play with that. You look at the systems that we're getting some of these kids from, whether they're moving here or we enroll them because of federal laws. You know, but we have to work within what we have. We're working with our people who are very much aware of what's going on and how they need to approach things. So we have a very good plan. There'll be some visible things coming up. Should be some visible things now, and others will be coming up in the future. But some good things now. Marbury High School, school up the road. We were notified this week. Time has gone by. This week they are in the Kentucky Derby Parade. They were chosen to participate in the Kentucky Derby Parade. Marbury High School Band, that was their band. Marbury High School Choir will be performing at a Country Music Association event as they're coming back from the Kentucky Derby. Marbury High School, their band is performing in one of the Mardi Gras parades in Mobile. It's one school. They started out, their band program was very, very small. They've done a phenomenal job. Some of these things that we're able to do with them to help them comes about from the SSUT. Just a little, we didn't mention much about other than what we had done with the grants. One of the things we talked with the commission, and I talked with the previous board, we did not want any of this SSUT to even seem that it was going for salaries or anything. So our agreement is that it's for projects, things that we don't have the money necessarily for. So that's used for part of those funds. We're used to send the JROTC, the Air Force JROTC, to to Gulf Shores to open the Alabama Association of Federal Programs Educators Conference. Marbury High School performed there. We also have used part of those funds for the ag program at Marbury High School, Billingsley High School, and at the Technology Center. We also have, thanks to the legislature last year, appropriated more funds for the JAG program, Jobs for American Graduates. And I know a couple of you in here judged the JAG contest last week before last. We were fortunate enough to apply for one of those and got it. So we also had 2 winners. And so they are competing with the Northern Division to see who goes to national. Another good thing, FFA, we had, and Representative Smith, you may can help me, we had several participants, Billingsley and Marbury High School, participated in the national convention. We had one that competed in the national public speaking, and then we've had a couple of state officers. Do we have a national officer? That will be coming soon, I feel very certain. And those are the things that keep kids out of trouble. Okay, those extracurricular activities that people they do cost money, but people don't see the long-term benefits. Those are the things that keeps kids in school and gives them a sense of belonging. Just moving along with some other things. We talked about the security upgrades that we would certainly need assistance with. Along the lines of the tornado, we have gained, the education system, the county, the board hasn't heard this yet, some national attention. I'll be on a panel for a state convention for the National Weather Service on preparedness. That's in June or July. Because of that, and some things, you know, it would have been anybody, could have been anybody, but it took a team. I don't know how many phone calls burning up, and Jay and everything, but you know, those are decisions you have to do, and that's just part of it. But it is nice when National Weather Service and EMA kind of recognizes those things. Our third graders, how many of you have heard the Literacy Act? I think y'all have, probably. It was postponed, the retention portion was postponed, but this year in our, the Tri-County region, our third graders, well, let me back up. Third graders were required, if they weren't on grade level, to summer test, summer reading test. Okay, actually they had 2 times they could do that. But after that, we had a great number of kids that would not have, and I don't have that number on my top of my head, that would not have had to repeat 3rd grade at the end of school. Okay, we still had quite a few that needed to retest. Okay, at the end of the summer, our final numbers, we were the highest. We had the highest percentage of kids that would not have had, that were on or above grade level than any of the other systems. That has a lot to say. We've got a lot of great people that we network with in the State Department. We've got a lot of people who are focused now. And, you know, for so long, and it could happen again next year, tomorrow, whatever, but for so long we had to, we didn't have the funds, but because we scraped together some things, we now have reading specialists that work with each teacher. You know, we are looking at adding math coaches, you know, that will work with, we can't do it to the level of ARI, but that's a funding thing. I think that'll be coming up too. I do reiterate, or do kind of piggyback off of what Jay and the mayor said. The public works law, we need to look at that some, because right now, and Jay knows these figures more than I do, if I want to put a fence up, that's public works, because it's attached to the building, you know, things like that, then we need to go to the architect or engineer, and that adds $150,000, $200,000. Well, you know, if I'm using part of our ATF money, the advancement in technology, you know, we have an X amount of money for that. That takes having to pay an architect fee on small things like that. Like we had to add the folding door at Prattville High School. The architect fees for that is, what are they, Jay?
$5,000.
Plus advertising and things like that.
We had a bill on that last year, and we actually ended up passing a portion of it, but there was so much pushback from the education community, so y'all help us educate y'all's colleagues as well, that we had to take K-12 out of it to get it passed. Now, the community colleges are operating under what a better scenario, so hopefully we can add y'all to that.
Excuse me, and my understanding too, and Jake mentioned this, right now, education systems aren't able to participate, excuse me, got allergies, aren't able to participate in the elevated bid threshold. I think some system or some entities can have 50,000, but we weren't part of that for some reason. I don't know. And I didn't know we weren't part of that until just recently. So that would be something that we need to look at. Also, additional mental health counselors and coordinators. That's been a big thing for us. And we're one of the fortunate systems that we were able to get several grants to work together, but we could use 4 times as many. With the number of kids that we have that are coming to us with violent behaviors, you know, and again, I remind you, as a school system, we have to take every child. No question, every child. You know, parents, somebody told me a long time ago, parents don't keep their good ones at home. You know, they send they send the best they have. And whether they come to us with an IEP from you know, wherever, we have a mandate from the federal government. We have to serve. And, you know, right now, our mental health coordinators and counselors are just tied up with that. But our IDEA budget, I think the feds service at, or they fund us at 32%-ish. Nowhere near enough. I think the state kicks in some. I think we have some special ed IDEA fund. I know gifted we do, but special ed's killing us as far as the amount of nurses that we have to have, specialized nurses. Y'all may not realize, I think most of you probably do, but some not. If we have a child that's a diabetic, plays football, it's true, then we have to send a nurse with them, you know, wherever they go. And so, you know, funding for that, that gets expensive. Of course, we would do it because, I mean, that's, you know, we don't want to deny a child, you know, participating, but just things like that. And I think, you know, I know the state did increase nurses funding last year, year before, a couple of years in a row. But we're like, every school systems are like every other entity. Our COVID, ESSER, and ARA money, they're beginning to wind up, they're going away. We were fortunate enough, I didn't budget anything for personnel that we were going to, and I don't mean this, that we were going to get stuck with. In other words, they got tenure or something, and the same thing would happen that happened to us in 2008 with the ARA. Is it ARA? The President Obama's, his American Recovery Reinvestment, where we wound up with a lot of personnel that had tenure. And, you know, we couldn't do anything. So that started the downward economic woes. So we were fortunate enough that we didn't do that and kind of put some money, save some money. But all that will be going away starting next year. So, I mean, all in all, yes, we have had some hits. Luckily, the board has not run away. So we're very fortunate with that. But I think just one last thing, and I think this is it's very important. The revision of the foundation program, the funding program. I know that's a priority for SSA, AASB, and really anybody who works in education. I believe it's been 92, since 1992 that it has been revised. And back then in the old day, it was based on attendance and not enrollment. But when you look at kids, I've got one child that may be gifted, third grader gifted, you know, that costs $5,000, and I've got a third grader that's special ed that costs $20,000. You know, so there's a big discrepancy in that, and I think we're at a good point now that the state can look at that. I remember very well the last proration, very well. With the rolling reserve and the extra funds that we get allocated every year based on the proceeds with that, the advancement of technology, that allows us to do a lot of these things that we wouldn't be able to do. So that was a very good thing, and not having to worry about proration is even better. And I do appreciate the county and their willingness to share their SSUT and our position, my position in the board, put it back in the hands of the kids, and that's what we're trying to do. All right. And I don't have COVID or I have allergies, and I have a new grandbaby. So,
Excuse me, I do have a question. Mr. Tidmore, you have any idea how much it may cost? Because I know it's been thrown around quite a bit about metal detectors.
yes, I do. Anywhere from $3,000 to $20,000
each.
Yes, depending on the bells and whistles and what you want them to do. What Huntsville City had, I believe it was Evo. I think that's what they talked about, or what they bought. There's some issues with those. They were, there's a system or a state, I think it was Virginia, had a contract with them. They rescinded that contract because there were a couple of instances where knives got through that and they were involved in fights. But it's like anything else. Metal detectors, not the be all and end all. You gotta have, there's a layer, you know, whether it's with backpacks and then metal detectors. We are looking, and again, it's money, and we may get with the city about this. Auburn University has weapon sniffing. They train weapon sniffing dogs. They're usually the dogs from Afghanistan, you know, come back from war and things, that are used to that. They are rather expensive, but I've reached out to them. The first time, and you have flown a lot, the first time I was at an airport where I didn't go through metal detectors or anything, but the dog, you know, came up and down. It was kind of freaked me out a little bit, but you know, even with dogs, they get tired, you know, so it's a layer. So yes, anywhere from, you know, 3 to on up.
So how many would you need for prep high school and prep?
That would have to be determined by, that would take, we'd have to change some mindsets. Who enters where, you know, that's a convenient thing where you come in. You know, you're looking at, you would have to restrict access. So that would be a decision, a plan that would be carefully thought out. Junior high school would be the same way. You're looking at probably, and that this is just a guess, it's not on the front, the front entrance, you know, probably 3, and then you've got a bus entrance, but then you also have to look at athletics coming into, you know, with their bags and all that stuff. So you kind of have to, then you know, look at where teachers come in. It's the same way, you know, where you're policing, you tell them to make sure the doors are shut, but what's convenient, I'm just going to stick a rock here, but I'm just going over here. So, you know, it's going to take a lot of mindset change.
And the reason I asked, I know I called the mayor and I told him, I know we have an education meeting coming up soon, and I told him that I would like for us to purchase all of them for the schools, because that's going to help our SROs. I think we have 4, and then I think, well, 7, I guess, 4 in the school plus the 3 that school relations. So that will help them tremendously. You know, if we were to use the education money to purchase those for you guys. And I know there was a question about the clear bags, and my thought process on that is just for the city to purchase the clear bags for everyone instead of just a select group, you know, because that's what the money's for, and that money belongs to the taxpayers. You know, that's the taxpayers, and if that's what the taxpayers want, I think that's what we should do. And also, have you guys looked at anything as far as vape detection?
Yeah, some of the metal detectors of vape that have metal pieces in them, they would detect that. The issue, there's some technology out there that detects it from the vapors, like in the bathrooms and things.
Yeah.
Those, I've talked with, you know, probably about 30 people, 15 they work, 15 they don't work. It just depends. You know, bathrooms are closed up and all. But that's like everything else, the technology evolves, and that would just have to be something that we would kind of try. Those are relatively inexpensive. But right now, it's just mixed reviews.
And I ask these questions, several of you guys know I work at the alternative school, so like he talked about, you know, I see it all on the front line every day, the gangs, the mental health. You know, it's sad, like you say, you have a kid that may move in from Arizona that you don't know about. Well, this kid may have been in 20 facilities, and he's only 14 years old, but he's lived in facilities, and he needs mental health. So that we need money for mental health.
And we transported him from the Chilton County line to Prattville with a driver and an aide.
That gets into those federal laws that we were talking about that we have to sell.
Yeah, so that costs a lot, but the mental health aspect, I think I even reached out to Senator Chambliss and Representative Lawrence a couple weeks ago, because I wanted to ask him, you know, what kind of laws can you guys put in place in the legislature where we need to hold parents responsible? Because we have tons of kids that come through the schools, and especially here at the alternative school, where this child may be bipolar, schizophrenic, and have 10 diagnoses, and the parents refuse to give them medicine. Now we're having to chase them around town. We have to call the sheriffs and the police and the ambulance, you know. So to me, we need to start looking at how to hold parents accountable, and that's what I asked Senator Chambliss for. And the security and safety is major. And I applaud the new board, and I know, Mr. Tidmore, you catch a lot of flack, but these are issues that we've noticed, especially being on the front line, you know, mentoring and working with kids and seeing all this. We've talked about this for the last 10 years, and a lot of people have turned their heads to act and pretend that these issues aren't here. These issues are real, and I think we need to take it seriously before somebody's child, some of these employees get seriously hurt. You know, you have to forget perception, forget what Prattville was. Can't no one tell me what Prattville was. I lived it. I'm from Prattville. I know what it was like. You know, when we grew up and we went to each other's homes and we knew everyone here. It's not like that now. You got 40,000 people here, and everyone doesn't have the same values that we had. They don't have the same parents that we had that kept their thumbs on us. So I think we need to seriously we have to take this serious. You know, if not, it's gonna be on all of our hands. Every elected official in here, that we need to take this serious. Whatever, moving forward, whatever other agendas we had, we need to do all we can to protect our employees. Tarrant County Board of Education is the largest employer in the county, and to protect our children. Because if we don't, it's only getting worse. No one can tell me any different, because again, I see it. I see the ugly truths. I see the things that no one wants to see, and I deal with it every single day. Every single day. And we have to take it seriously, and we need to make sure we get behind superintendent, the school board, and do whatever it takes to make whatever they need. We need to make it happen. We need to make it happen, because our community is is in trouble. We can't continue to bury our heads in the sand anymore. Jerry talked about Maxwell and about trying to figure out how to increase the funding for our school system. We've talked about it. We're gonna have to seriously go back to the table and figure this out, because someone's gonna get hurt, or we're losing too many good people that are tired. Prattville used to be the place to be. Autauga County used to be the place to be, and it's not that anymore. And I think we need to, like I said, put all agendas to the side, and we need to make Prattville the place to be again. Thank you. I'm sorry for that.
Thank you, Counselor. That was well said. Other comments, questions? I know the hour's getting late.
I'd like to say
Sure.
just a little bit. I don't speak for Mark Thompson or anything like that. We've had conversations and stuff. To start off what Commissioner Thompson said, we're looking for any way we can fund our sheriff's department. We need all the help we can get. So any funds that we can get as far as grants that y'all know of, please look into. As far as the safety of our kids, we need unfettered access to help y'all with the school board and the superintendent. We need to be in those schools. We need to show those kids that we're not the ones that are the scary people out there on the street. I look forward to working with the board, and I'm sure Chief Thompson does also. I look forward to working with you, Mr. Tidmore, in any way that we can. I look forward to working with the community leaders, because it's going to take every one of us, and especially us in law enforcement. We need to get ahead of these kids, be there for these kids, show them the right way. And with me being at the Sheriff's Department now, I'm looking for any way I can to be out in the community and help the community. So if y'all have any ideas, anywhere that we can as a Sheriff's Department, and I'm sure with the Chief, Mark Thompson, let us know so we can be there for these kids. And I look forward to working with the board, and I look forward to working with you, Mr. Tidmore, in any way that we can to protect these kids. And the only way we can do it is working together. Thank you.
So I thought a lot.
Senator, I got one thing. Just in listening, and I didn't come prepared to speak, but a lot of people hit on it, but mutual aid, you know, so I think the tornado was still rolling through the county and the mayor was ringing my phone. You know, we all talk about mutual aid as something that will happen, you know, if you're in need. And the fact is, we were in need. And we didn't have to look around far at all. And you could see the result of mutual aid taking place. And so that's, the city of Prattville was huge. You know, without the training that they provided, the boots on the ground probably could not have been as effective as they were. So as we've, you know, I don't know that there's anything specific at this moment that you guys are facing, but just know from a mutual aid standpoint, we saw it work at its finest. One thing that was also mentioned, we were talking about the trucks and weights. High impact they are. And, you know, we've recruited a lot of business and real fortunate to have these businesses, these industries come to our area. But they are extremely high impact. And they do, and the roads were mentioned. We need to, you know, be mindful of that moving forward. As much as we're appreciative of the jobs and the things that come, they are very high impact. And I know many recognize that, but that's something that truly, it's the gift that keeps giving. And so the paving the roads and keeping the roads in good condition, it's extremely tough. And we're seeing a lot of that in all areas of the county. And the last thing is, I know Mr. Tidmore and the board has probably gotten a lot of grief here lately, in the past 2 weeks for sure. But something I really haven't heard a whole lot, except Mr. Tidmore didn't mention it. You know, if you see something, say something. And really, more than anything, the kids that had the courage to speak up. That's, you know, we talk about all the bad, and the bad's everywhere. I mean, it's going to be in every corner. But the good kids that really, you know, put their pride aside or whatever, it took a lot of courage for those children to speak up. And so they're the ones that we should be focused on as much as combating the bad. But, you know, if those kids are going to be threatened for doing the right thing, I mean, that's a sad day. And so I do know that has gone on, and it's unfortunate. But the kids, so we need to try to, and I know that legislatively it's not a whole lot we can do to protect good kids, but we need to take every avenue we can to try to protect the ones that are doing the right thing. But that's just an overview that I had, and Commissioner Thompson did a great job. But I just wanted to mention the high impact and some of those things that we need to be mindful of. So.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. It's been good. It's obvious to me that our kids are what we need to focus on. We got to focus on some other stuff too. But we stand beside your board and superintendent to do our part. So, thank you all.